written in this country, and Connor Kilpatrick actually just made this point. I think it was an Amber Frost point, if I remember correctly, that the British overclass sort of does a favor because they are so horrifying and gruesome. They actually do things like fox hunting and sort of, look at what Boggs, I think, is that Moggs or Boggs?
Jonathan Rhys-Mogg.
Jonathan
said
Rhys-Mogg.
that the Grenfell Tower people were just too stupid to leave or something like that.
Right. One of literally a aristocrat on the Tory front bench is so transparently evil and grotesque that he would say that about the Grenfell Tower. Now, in America, our oligarchs are the same, but they wear sweaters and they talk about philanthropy and they talk about doing good. Now, incidentally, Bill Gates waged a war against public education and teachers in this country, which has been I think it's been a success in terms of what it was actually trying to do, but certainly not a success in improving education in this country. And he has a creepy and bizarre obsession with African birth rates, which, I'm sorry, I find that kind of disturbing. But there has been this delusional brand built in the American psyche that some of these people who look, again, some of them might be perfectly nice people, might even have nice intentions, but in fact, the structural reality of their wealth is antithetical to democracy. And when push comes to shove, most of them are going to vote in accordance with that. So even a absolutely minuscule wealth tax like the one Elizabeth Warren is putting on the table, basically a tax on Bill Gates's couch change. I think he's worth at least 20 billion, and I think if at 2%, I think it would be like 100 million, which obviously is more in a lifetime for over 90% of people. But for Bill Gates, I mean, I don't know. He wouldn't even need to sell a jet to chip that off to the federal government. But oh boy, did that lead to a meltdown. And I would say, along with all of the photos of him with Jeffrey Epstein, maybe a ongoing mask off moment for Bill Gates.
Now, somebody can say I'm very biased since I've been a prime beneficiary of the existing system. But I'd love somebody to find a middle ground approach, because the government's role in healthcare and better education, the government does need more resources than it has today.
And so what would you do?
Well, if you make the tax on capital the same as labor, you go back to the...
we just recently Saiz and Zuckman discovered research showed that capital taxes on labor is higher than taxes on capital.
Right.
The idea that we'd make them even is ludicrous. Like, that's not a middle ground.
No.
Capital should be taxed far, far higher than labor.
To put it in simple terms, Wall Street stock speculation by rich people or being a landlord should be taxed at a higher rate than your job.
Tax on capital the same as labor. You go back to the estate tax that we used to have. Doing something like the 10-year thing, where it's super large fortune. The big fortunes are not, as Piketty says, a return on capital. The big fortunes are the return on creating companies that achieve very strong positions, particularly in the technology industry. That's where you get these super big numbers.
Bill Gates created such a pernicious monopoly in technology that at the end of the Clinton administration, that administration was going after their monopolistic practices. And the Clinton-Gore administration presided over some of the most expansive deregulation of Wall Street and the first late 90s tech bubble. His practices were so predatory and monopolistic that it caught the attention of the late 90s Clinton Justice Department.
You get these super big numbers. And so I've paid over $10 billion in taxes. I paid more than anyone in taxes. But I'm glad to have paid, if I'd had to pay $20 billion, it's fine. But when you say I should pay $100 billion, okay, then I'm starting to do a little math about what I have left over. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
$6 billion.
You really want the incentive system to be there, and you can go a long ways without threatening that.
Have you ever talked to Elizabeth Warren about any of this
I've not.
before? Would you? Would you want to?
I'm not sure how open-minded she is, or that she'd even be willing to sit down with somebody, who has large amounts of money.
Okay, so let me make it complicated for you. You've been, I'll politely say, public about your misgivings about our current president. If Elizabeth Warren were the other candidate, what would you do?
I'm not going to, make political declarations, but I do think no matter what policy somebody has in mind, a professional approach is even, as much as I disagree with some of the policy things that are out there, I do think a professional approach to the office. Whoever I decide would have the more professional approach in the current situation probably is the thing that I'll weigh the most. I hope the more professional candidate is an electable candidate.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. More professional approach.
What does that even mean?
Couldn't agree more. It means don't tax him. Jesus, I even get it, Brendan. Now, of course, the other element of why we should have a way bigger wealth tax is for the sake of democracy. We'll get to numbers in a second. I just want to say, Elizabeth Warren, the team sent out a awful tweet saying that she would be happy to sit down with Bill Gates, which is, look, I'm always happy to meet with the people, even if we have different views. Bill Gates, if you get a chance, I'd love to explain exactly how much you'd pay under my wealth tax. I promise you it's not $100 billion. Now, Elizabeth Warren last year refused to go on Fox News for some very well-argued reasons. I don't happen to agree. I think as disgusting as it is the largest cable network, and you're running for president, you're going to be on it. And indeed, Warren was regularly on Fox News before the commencement of the campaign. But she did say, look, I'm not going to go on a racist network promoting Trump's terrorism at the border. And again, I think if you're running for president, you have to go on Fox. And indeed, Bernie did an incredible job on Fox. Pete Buttigieg, and this is really hard for me to say, personally in Fox's studios, along with Bernie, criticized, Fox's racism and capitalist propaganda, as an example. I think it's very disturbing Elizabeth Warren does not bring the same energy to Bill Gates, who, in terms of reality, is a way bigger threat and impediment than the average Fox viewer. And of course, the point is to get to the viewers, not the network. The network in this case is the medium, right? So to say I won't potentially reach millions of people, and even if it's only 10,000 people that say, you know what, I like that policy set, I'll vote in a better way. But then all of a sudden you'll turn around and be kind of obsequious to an obscene oligarch who has basically just revealed that for all of the branding and all the bullshit, that a modest wealth tax is enough for him to at the very least consider voting for Donald Trump. I would say almost certainly he would vote for Donald Trump, or come up with some type of like made up stupid, third party campaign that would specifically function as a spoiler, like try to resuscitate Howard Schultz. So, very bad instincts there, in my view, from Warren, and very revealing of billionaires aren't your friends, folks.
Yeah, if a billionaire Gates wants to see Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, he should go to Iowa and or New Hampshire.
Exactly. Go on the campaign trail, see if you can get a meeting. Why the hell should they sit down with you? And I think that's the message, why do you get special treatment? Getting special treatment your whole damn life. Bernie Sanders' Twitter said, say Bill Gates was actually taxed at $100 billion. We could end homelessness, provide safe drinking water to everybody in this country. Bill would still be a multi-billionaire. Our message, the billionaire class cannot have at all when so many have so little. That's what it is. And incidentally, not particularly interested in listening to you laboriously try to get through a point about your greed while looking at the, intentionally, like, do you see the holes at the soles of his shoes? Like the whole, like, yeah, I'm just a regular guy. I don't really like to spend. That's it. That's even worse. These billionaires that are like, I drive a used car, I have holes in my shoes. Disgusting. I mean, at the very least, make a little bit of the trickle down work. My God, go buy some friggin' cars. Employ some more people. You greedy morons.